you've got a lot of other shit. So another big project, or at least one that you were a little worried about, given the process you were putting it through, was those Galaxy Express movies.
Yeah. Okay.
So you added film grain to these, right?
Right. And a lot of people were really skeptical about this, and I don't blame them for being.
Well, it's the internet, but yeah.
Touche. Okay. So Galaxy Express movies, these gorgeous classics that I think every anime fan should at least see once. They were shot on film in an era where film grain was the size of your fist, the late 70s. And when Toei Animation did their HD remastering of it about 6 or 7 years ago, they did the best they could, but that film grain was so big that it ended up just looking really smudgy. And it just kind of, people complained at the time because they made the colors kind of too vibrant, and it looked over cleaned. It didn't look like film anymore.
Yeah.
And, that was the masters we had to work with. And frankly, there's a lot of detail in there, and they're not really missing a whole lot of detail. They just look smudgy and too clean. So after running some tests, I put them through a filter where it added a bunch of artificial film grain. Now, I did this in After Effects, Adobe After Effects, and the built-in grain plugin was something that Adobe had bought and integrated into After Effects like 20 years ago. That plugin, still 16-bit.
Really?
And it's so slow. It actually emulates specific film stocks. So it's probably the best in class in terms of faking a film look.
Yeah.
Each one of those movies took a solid week of CPU time.
Holy shit.
To filter. And some of them I had to do, I think one of them I had to do multiple times because I was still like trying to figure out the right amount of grain to add. It's really funny because if you didn't know it was there, I'm really proud of how it turned out, honestly.
I think it looks great.
Because
so does everyone else, apparently.
It's just, I was very vindicated because I was looking at like the Blu-ray.com forums, and they were like, there's some real hard to please people on there.
Yeah.
And a couple people were like, hey, look, I eat my words. This actually looks pretty good. We weren't going to get a new transfer, and you can do only so much of these things. Having that artificial film grain, not only does it hide the smudginess, but it makes your mind go, oh, right, this is film. And it's just that little bit of grain that it's sort of like how The Hobbit, they tried to do 48p, 48 frames a second.
Yeah.
And it just looked way too clean and way too so realistic that it completely took the fantasy out of it, and everything looked really fake.
You're just on set.
Yeah, it's sort of the same effect here, where that little added film grain makes your brain go, movie.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really proud of how they turned out. It adjusted the colors a little bit too to be not quite so oversaturated and perfect looking, and I think it looks it strikes a good balance. I'm pretty proud of how they turned out.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's a good looking disc. It's interesting, just these little stories behind, restoring all this old stuff.